When I learned and understood more about the nervous system, it certainly changed the way I work with kids in my practice. It can be really helpful to understand or have a deeper understanding of what the fight, flight, freeze response is in children, because it can typically get labelled as misbehaviour, naughty behaviour, attention seeking, all of those things. I guess it would be helpful for me to maybe give you an understanding of how I see the fight, flight, freeze response. I call it the stress response. And it is kind of like an evolutionary. I like to go back to the caveman days as an example. So when we first started to evolve as human beings, the first part of the brain to evolve was this part, is the brain stem. It's unconscious and automatic, and it's constantly scanning our environment for threat or perceived threat. I guess back then the cavemen potentially, were faced with saber-tooth tigers. We hear a lot of this on the internet. A lot of people have an understanding of that, but how do we bring that knowledge into today's world? Because we don't have saber-toothed tigers roaming the streets, or not often, or I haven't seen any. But anyway, so fight, flight, freeze is the body's or the brain's automatic response to protect and ensure that you survive. And yes, we live in a chaotic world, so it's still relevant today. We do need that part of the brain to be activated. And so if we're thinking about children, we want their little nervous systems. Their nervous systems are still developing. We want their nervous systems to be able to grow and develop in a way that their stress response is not being triggered by threats that aren't actually there. And obviously in today's chaotic world, it can be things like loud noises, all of the crap that we see on social media, the scaremongering media, all of those things. So if we're looking at this from a child's perspective, what we want to be thinking about is being calm ourselves. So the fight, flight, freeze is obviously the fight is if our brain stem is going to detect a threat or perceived threat, it's going to send a signal to another part of the brain. I think it might be the hippocampus, and that will send a signal to release the hormones adrenaline and cortisol, filling our bodies with the right hormones so that we're strong enough to fight. So full on yelling, screaming, throwing, tantrumy type behaviours is what we'll see in our children. The fight, the flight, so the running away. If we don't fight, then we have the option potentially of running away from the threat or perceived threat. And again, with children, this can be gapping it, like walking away, running away when you are trying to talk to them. If they're upset, their nervous system's gonna kick in, so the thinking frontal cortex is literally gone offline. They're not functioning at that level anymore, so don't even try to talk them down. They're going to run away, maybe hide in their bedroom. If they're in danger running down the street, clearly you have to chase them and contain them safely. But hopefully it's not that bad, and hopefully it's just running off to their bedroom, because their nervous systems are now finding ways that they need to calm down. And interestingly, children's bodies often do things to calm themselves down naturally. So it might be rocking, might be stomping, any kind of big movements, heavy lifting, throwing. All those things are actually attempts at our nervous systems, or our children's nervous systems, at calming down the nervous system. So what is the freeze response? That's more, the brain has been designed that if we don't have the options, like the physical options of running or fighting, then our brain will actually kind of shut down and shut off, and it can be called dissociation. So the little brain's gonna almost like an out-of-body experience. It's not daydreaming, it's a complete psychological shutdown, and what that does is it protects the nervous system from whatever traumatic event or big event is happening in the child's life in that moment. So the good thing about having an understanding of the fight, flight, freeze stress response or survival response is that our brain is doing the right thing. It is trying to keep us alive, because it goes right back to the caveman days. So what we can do is, now that we have an understanding of it, we're going to stop labelling our children's dysregulation, so the dysregulated state when they're in the fight, flight, freeze. We're going to stop labelling them as naughty behaviour, attention seeking, all of those unhelpful things, particularly because kids hear us say these things, right? And it can be, well, it's not good for their self-esteem, it's not good for their self-worth. They then can internalize that and see that as blame, self-blame, all of those things. So we can, the things we can do is validate. I see you're hurting, I see you're upset. I mentioned earlier that we can't logic kids out, we can't talk them out of those states, so it is a matter of waiting, giving them time to calm down, giving them the tools, whether it's a stress ball, fidgets. But one of the biggest things you can do as a parent is actually keep your body calm, because we have mirror neurons. Our children's nervous systems are actually leaning into our nervous systems. They're borrowing our calmness if we are able to stay calm, and totally recognize that this is really hard when you have a screaming child. Like the noise, the emotional response that you have as a parent can be really hard. Seeing your little one really upset. But do your very best. Self-affirmations like internally, I've got this, I'm doing this, I'm doing the best that I can. The breath work, breathing in through the nose for 4, holding for 4, and breathing out for 4 or 5, doing those 2 or 3 times, keeping calm. Whether it is kind of moving your own body, rocking yourself, pacing yourself, or pacing I should say, all of those things are going to help you to be calm, so that your child's nervous system, remembering this is unconscious, your child's not consciously thinking, oh, mum's calm, so I've got to be calm, or I can be calm. It's all happening way back here automatically, and then you'll notice signs as you're calming, as your child's calming, as their breathing will become a little bit more stable, a little bit more deeper breaths and calm. They'll be able to articulate maybe how they were feeling or what upset them. Their thinking brain's going to come back online. So yeah, those are really, it's kind of a really brief explanation, but I've found that really helpful when I'm working with kids, to teach them the strategies of noticing, hey, where did you feel that sensation in your body, that emotion, naming the emotion, giving your children the language, the emotional intelligence. So what do you think that feeling was that you had, and where was it in your body? Can you remember? Was it maybe in your chest, or in your gut, in your belly? Was there sort of a tightness in your shoulders? I often give kids examples of my own physical sensations. One in particular is when I get angry, I get like a bristle on the back of my neck, and my tongue has like a metallic taste. So sharing those ideas with kids normalizes these big emotions such as anger and frustration, and let them know that it's 100% okay, and it's actually really important to listen to those big emotions, because our emotions are trying to tell us something, right? If we don't listen to them, if we suppress them down, then that's potentially not going to allow us to get out of a dangerous situation, or a situation that's not helping us out in any shape or form. So anyway, I hope that this video was helpful. I'm going to be putting up a whole lot more content on YouTube moving forward, and I'd love for you to follow and subscribe. Yeah, give me some feedback, and if there's a comment section, you might want to put some comments in there about how you've noticed your child's nervous system or big emotions, and how you've helped calm them, or maybe topics or questions about how I can help you as a trained therapist working in New Zealand, Aotearoa. Thanks.